All of this was from like just off my own back. The guys as well, it's just off their own back. So to get in those positions, it kind of speaks volumes to what can happen if you just put yourself out there. And there's a lot of people that I always tell that message that, listen, if you've got an idea, run with it, because you don't want to be sitting down thinking in 5 years' time, you know what, if I didn't do that idea, what?
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Can We Talk. I have here a special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Mayowa, so I'm a sports enthusiast. So that's sports writing, sports podcasts, broadcasting, a bit of everything here, there and everywhere.
Okay, so I hear in the grapevine that you are the UK's...
The grapevine.
I hear down the grapevine that you are the UK's Shannon Sharp.
Not me. I'm part of the team. I'm part of the team that I've probably taken the culture to where that space is. I wouldn't say it's just solely me. I'll say it's with Stoppage Time. That is that kind of movement where it's kind of getting the UK close to where America is, where freedom of speech is a real thing. It's not kind of suit and ties and just kind of all politics. It's actually real conversations. So
tell us more about what exactly you do.
So, StoppageTimeTv is a footballing platform where we discuss what's happening in football, but I like to describe it as an extension of your WhatsApp group. So the conversations that loads of mandem have on a day-to-day where they're just kind of going at it about football, we have that, but in front of a camera, and make it into a show that's then digested by loads of people. So yeah, it's different. It's different, but there is a surge of this thing happening now. We just happen to be in a position where people are starting to recognise us for doing it.
So wait, how different is this from what they do in the Premier League or in Sky Sports?
At the moment, if you look at the Premier League or typical kind of production from the actual Premier League or anything like that, it's very dated, I'd say. It's not representative of a lot of people or a lot of markets that are watching. So it's very kind of, this is what's happening today, very formal, very kind of A, B, C. It's not very lively. There's pockets of it that's starting to change, but even with that, it's still kind of overproduced, not authentic, and a bit kind of lame. Whereas with Stoppage Time, it's literally, even though it's recorded, it's just go. We're just going through it, talking. Obviously, there's prep and everything that goes into behind, and we have to be quite knowledgeable. But it's just real stuff. It's unfiltered. It's not kind of trying to save industry relationships or whatnot. It's just kind of three guys really speaking their mind about football in a real chilled arena, pretty much. Okay,
and what makes you guys? What qualifies you guys as sports enthusiasts? Yeah, like why would people listen to you guys and then take your opinion for gospel?
That's a good question. I think the thing is, with sports, right, everyone can have an opinion. With anything in life, everyone can have an opinion. I mean, like, even what we're doing now, I mean, everyone can pick up and do something, right? Not everyone has the balls or wants to do it. At the same time, the people that are doing it, they've put themselves out there and they've researched and they've understood. So, for instance, I treat football like it's an occupation. I study it, I'm really diligent with it. Of course, a lot of stuff is my opinion, but people sometimes will love your opinion, they'll hate your opinion. Yeah. So that's the reality of it, really, I think, pretty much.
And have you faced any backlash from it yet?
Of course, of course. No one's ever gonna people don't like the truth, people don't like opinions, and people just don't like being wrong. So whenever any of those things happen, you're just going to face some sort of backlash. But at the same time, you get people that come and support you. And one of my guys, like on the show, Cam, will say something which says, first they don't understand, then they learn. And it's one of those things where people, they're thinking, oh, who are these guys talking? And then when they realise that you said something of sense, it's like, yeah, you know what, I like what they're saying, So it's just one of those things where you have to keep. That's why consistency is important. When you're constantly out there, people start realising, okay, I'm not just doing this for a joke, you're doing it because you seem to have an angle, and they start realising, okay, I actually hear what you're saying, as opposed to just see a snippet.
So what made you start then?
So for me, football's always been an integral part of my life. So I've always played, I've always discussed it as well. going to all boys school, there's no girls around. You can see girls after, but you just tend to just talk football.
Yeah.
So since then, I've always kind of been a conversationalist about things, not just football, but football, life, and everything. And with this, it was an opportunity to extend again that WhatsApp group conversation into real life. Because there'll be times where you're talking about football with people and it's like, this was a good conversation. I wonder what everyone else feels about this.
Okay.
So this is now extended that, and that's how it really came to life. And the people I date with are all completely different people as well, which helps.
Yeah, because you have on your podcast different people that come on, different...
Yeah.
Well, as of lately, you've had Scorcher on it.
Yeah, sad Scorch.
How was that?
It's interesting. I think with Scorch as well, the reason why that's a nice dynamic is because Scorch is older. He's older than me. So his lens of seeing football is slightly different because he's probably seen a bit more and has consumed football in a different way. And he's a Spurs fan as well. I support Chelsea, so naturally we won't see the eye to eye. But it's nice having people with different opinions because you can challenge why people have opinions. So it's like, okay, so why do you think like that?
Yeah.
So there's a few things that everyone was agreed on. There's a few things where it's kind of like, no, I don't agree there. But that's what makes for a good show because everyone's not just a robot saying yes, yes, yes. It was, it's quite fiery at times, but it was good. It was good little conversation. Yeah.
Was it just football that made you want to become a sports enthusiast, or like, are you interested in basketball? Like, what's your sport of choice?
For me, it's definitely football. I think it's funny you mentioned basketball because I'll never say that I've consumed basketball 100%, but I've always been aware, and that's why it's really interesting going back to what you asked before, like Shannon Sharp and those guys and everything they do in America. It's a completely different world, and what I noticed is the way, if you look at a lot of athletes that are footballers, a lot of them are black. If you look at the media space, not a lot of them are black. If you look at the coaching space, not a lot of them are black.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of voices, and that's why the media that comes across is not always representative of the people playing. Whereas in the NBA, it's completely different. You've got players that will go on to these shows and have conversations that these guys are their friends, and you're watching this thinking that you're in the room, you'll feel a part of it.
Yeah.
Here it's completely different because the voices and the talent are completely different. The producers on all of these companies as well, they don't understand it. So with Stoppage Time...
They don't understand...
They don't understand the culture. They don't understand kind of the nature of the people that are playing the sport. So for instance, if you look at, if I said like Raheem Sterling or a lot of these guys, like young black footballers that are doing well, there's so many of them now. If you look at the people that are reporting the news on it, there's not really much that makes them correlate. They understand football, but they don't understand kind of the ethos around that sort of player or their morals. So
I don't understand it either.
So, but this is the thing. So, for instance, the best way I can put it is Raheem Sterling is a young black male from London.
Okay.
He loves fashion, loves this and loves that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, for a better example, Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba is a young Frenchman who is wealthy, doing well for himself. And as a Frenchman with Afro roots, he likes to dance, he likes to dye his hair and whatnot.
Yeah.
In terms of the media, the way that's portrayed is, he's not serious, or he doesn't care about his career, he's doing this and that. Whereas that's not the truth. If you have people that understand kind of...
the culture he's from.
That's normal for him. And he's not the only person doing that. He's just kind of heightened because he's really successful. There's loads of footballers in lower leagues that do that sort of stuff because that's them.
Yeah.
However, we're in a space where if you kind of portray that in social media or stuff like that, it's looked down upon because it's like, well, this is not what's acceptable in media and this and that. But that's starting to change now because people realise they can be themselves. With Stoppage Time, even the way we report on sports, that's becoming more normal now. You can swear, you can attack a player about their performance. You can do things without it just being prim and proper.
We can stay here from now to the kingdom come, yeah. But at the end of the day, listen, yeah. Man, them have to be accountable for what they say on this platform. This is a credible platform, yeah.
Facts.
Man, they'll be saying a lot of stuff here, and I'm not seeing it. I'll be real.
So it is interesting because you do battle a lot of prehistoric stereotypes of what it should be, but it's good fun. It's good fun, and it's growing, and day by day the machine's getting stronger as well.
So is the goal to be very similar to what the Americans do? And by Americans, the only person I know is Shannon Sharp and Skip. Those are the only two
Sharp, Skip,
that I know.
Yeah.
So
Stephen A is like the big one. This is a guy who he wears a suit, but you see him on every single show. He's very knowledgeable about sport, but he's personality comes through with everything he does.
Okay.
And it's like, you know what, this guy's sick. So in terms of what the ambition is, the ambition for me personally is I want to change the way sports perceived.
Okay.
And ultimately, that's not just with stoppage time, that's with everything else I do. But stoppage time is just one element.
Yeah.
You can't just have one group of people and it's changed. You need a lot of other people to come through and do stuff as well. So it's a big dream, it's a big mission, but gradually people are starting to recognize, you know what, this is another way you can do things. You can't just be raw, it doesn't have to be overproduced, it doesn't have to be this kind of shiny thing that has no substance almost. So that's where we want to go to with that.
So what's the dream then? So although that's the ambition, what's the dream? Do you guys want your own panel? Do you want your own show? Like, how does it work?
The dream for me is for the platform to be one of the biggest sporting platforms. So it's not just, at the moment it's YouTube and it's growing. Whether that is TV or whether that's kind of a massive YouTube following. It really depends, but we want it to kind of be that voice for sport or for football specifically within, well, not even just the UK, because a lot of fans are from America as well, funny enough.
Really?
So with America, like football, British football there is massive as well. In terms of European football, it's massive there. The only thing is, they prefer watching coverage from here because they deem people to be presenting over there not as knowledgeable. And then if you add the fact that with stoppage time, we speak in a language that's very relatable to people from our demographic and whatnot, it seems that we've kind of fallen on a hidden audience that have been waiting for it. So they just love it. They completely love it. Like they'll message and be like, "Yo, when's the next episode?"
Very
and
nice.
It's like, rah. So it is good. It is good, but it's just about growth at the moment. Just keep growing. Personally, for me, outside of stoppage as well, I do a bit of writing and stuff like that. And
how long have you been doing that for?
So that's probably about 2 years as well. 2 years as well, with the interviewing and stuff as well. And the whole aim there is to continue growing as well, because naturally. Well, let me explain this. Typically, you kind of have journalists. Journalists kind of go to university, they do a qualification, they learn how to write a specific way, and it's very, you can tell who's written something because it's a journalist. Whereas I'm very kind of more creative side. Kind of, I want to talk about something that's relevant to culture, not to the school result. And that's where the difference is at the moment. So pushing that to become bigger and bigger and bigger is a key aim for me as well.
As time is going on, watching it grow, having like artists message you or people message you to come on, because that's massive.
Yeah, I mean, it's been crazy. I think it's one of those things where in the back of your mind, even in terms of stuff I do personally, my head is kind of where I know it can go. So sometimes you lose appreciation sometimes of where you are until people kind of remind you that, oh, what you did was massive. It's like having Scorcher on was a massive thing. Having Young Tef on was a massive thing.
How did you feel about that?
It was good because like with Scorcher, this is someone I've listened to his music growing up. Tef, I've listened to his music growing up. The Tef one was funny because like that came out of nowhere. He wrote something and I was like, well, yeah, that's sick. And he goes, you don't even know I'm a fan of your show. So it's like, it's crazy that, people watch stuff and you don't know that until it all comes to the light. So yeah, it's very surreal, but to see the influence you're having on other things as well is a major part. So in terms of all of us, we've seen kind of quotes we use start being more common quotes. We've seen kind of the style of how we do things become a norm as well. So it's nice to know that we're having a positive influence on the space around us, but it's just about growing and continuing to grow because there's a lot of work to be done. So.
And whilst you're creating all this influence, be it positive or negative, how is that? Like, how does that feel? Because obviously, like, you're coming from a background where you didn't have that voice before. You had that voice, but not on like mainstream social media. So how does it feel now, bit by bit, seeing your influence take hold, even on like going on CNN? Like, how does that feel? Like, that's massive. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. With the CNN stuff, it's again, that didn't hit me until the week after, when everyone was like, you know, that's like people around the world have seen that.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
And then you kind of realize, okay, you know what, even though it's a checklist into the bigger thing that I want to do, it's still a massive milestone that you've done.
Yeah.
And it's sick because ultimately all of this is from the ground up. Like we've decided to run with a concept, we're moving forward, and it's good to know that people appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's getting noticed. But again, in the back of your mind, you have that little voice telling you that this isn't it. Like, we want to take over everything. This is just very, very small steps in comparison to where we want to be. So yeah,
That's got big dreams.
Yeah, and like even with the CNN stuff, I think for me personally, the reason why that touched home is because in terms of all of this stuff, like I said, I didn't do like a journalism degree, or I didn't study on this. All of this was from like just off my own back. The guys as well, it's just off their own back. So to get in those positions, it kind of speaks volumes to what can happen if you just put yourself out there. And there's a lot of people that I always tell that message to, like, listen, if you've got an idea, run with it, because you don't want to be sitting down thinking in 5 years' time, you know what, if I didn't do that idea, what could have been?
Yeah.
So
or you see someone with a similar idea to you, and you're like, damn,
exactly.
that could have been me.
And that's another funny thing about all of this, because a lot of people will watch what you do and be like, oh, but I could sit and give an opinion. It's like,
yeah,
that's great. YouTube's free. You might have to pay for camera, but go and do it.
Yeah.
Not everyone is gonna go and do these things.
Yeah,
so it's sick that people appreciate us doing it.
Okay, so what do you do in your spare time? Did you want to be a footballer? Is that a path you wanted to go down? Like,
when I was growing up, I did want to play football, but I wasn't good. I had the right mentality.
Okay.
But in terms of trying to be a top-end professional footballer, the ability you need to have, the luck as well, but the ability is the main thing. The ability level, sometimes you see these professionals and we're like, you know what, these professionals are not good, but the ability you need to even get to that level is unreal. And that's why I will always understand why I didn't make it to any sort of level like that, because I wasn't good enough. Like, I had the right attitude, I worked hard, and then when I did all that sort of stuff, but I could have never done that.
So what's the show that you thought that's a good show? And what's a show where you thought that's a really good show? Like, what are your...
In terms of stoppage or...
In terms... Anything to do with football, like what are you looking at and you're saying, actually I like that, but I think I could do better than that? Or, okay, maybe that's a wrong... I feel like that's a dangerous question to ask, knowing that there's so many... there's quite a few other football shows on YouTube.
Yeah, it is. For me, right, I have to be honest, like, I'm one of those people where I always pay homage to people that come before.
Okay.
So in general, there's loads of people that have been operating in this space. So you've got people like Poet, Vuj, who've kind of been like, they are kind of like the first personalities, kind of. Yeah.
So in that being said, so your show is better than.
Listen, the streets say what the streets say. That's all I can say. Like, don't get like. No.
So how is it interviewing these footballers? Because knowing, I don't know, is it like, for example, when I think of a celebrity, I put them in such a different lane in my head. I'm just like, oh my God, I'm that. Yeah. Do you get that same feeling when you're talking to footballers that you watch on TV, or like anyone that you've watched growing up? Like,
it's weird. It's weird because you look at these people and it's like, loads of people know who you are. Like you're kind of very skilled in your craft. That's why you're here. And then what you then realise is in that moment that these are just normal human beings that just want to be treated like normal human beings, and it's quite surreal to just see people in their natural state, because a lot of the time when you see kind of celebrities or people that have got notoriety about them, they're you only see glimpses of them. You only see them in that spotlight. You don't get to see them away from the spotlight. And when you do, you realise that okay, they're just a normal person. They've got a phone like you. They just sit down and chill like you. They want to crack jokes like you, and that's what makes it really unique and cool.
So who has been your favourite footballer to interview so far?
So this one's probably spilling the beans because it's not out yet. But,
exclusive.
My favourite one so far, and maybe because of the line of what the topic was, is Hector Bellerin, who plays for Arsenal.
Okay.
So the reason why he's been really good is because one, he's quite articulate with the way he speaks, but at the same time, you know, when someone's kind of talking their truth and they're coming from like a very different world, and they've had so many life experiences that when they're talking, it's like, okay, this is quite interesting. So yeah, he was quite good to talk to as well because the conversation was just fluid and everything. So that was a good one.
Worst person?
I've not had a worst
Do you have
person.
a worst? Would you say if you had a worst?
I would, 100% I would.
Okay.
I've not had a worst person. I'll probably say my worst experience then in terms of not worst person was I was doing an event where I was trying to get quick quotes from people. So I spoke to like a legend called Andy Cole.
I know Andy Cole.
Yeah,
I know Andy Cole.
So I spoke to Andy Cole, which is really good. But in terms of that experience, because of where it wasn't kind of an exclusive thing where I'm just sitting down. You're pressed for time, you're trying to grab someone's attention, you've built a rapport with them and then someone's dragging them because they've got to go somewhere. So that had a potential to be really sick. But in terms of the quotes were nice.
Yeah.
But that could have been longer. So, but it wasn't just him, there was like another manager, there was a manager called Chris Powell, someone called Chris Houghton. All of the things were really sick, but they weren't long enough. So that was a really, it was not the greatest experience, but the content was good.
For anyone who wants to be a sports enthusiast or sports conversationalist, how does one begin?
You just, in terms of content stuff, I say you just start. I mean, we had this conversation as well in terms of you can sit an idea for so long and then when you don't do it, you're kind of thinking, why didn't I do that? The first place you start with is starting and then after that, it's just consistency. Like, I think in the early days, maybe because of everything that everyone does, I was very consumed with numbers. Then I realised that numbers are not everything. It's about having consistency. Like numbers come eventually, and even without what you think are glorified numbers, you still can have a core group of people that really love what you're doing.
Yeah.
So when we were going and stuff, we had a core group of people that just every Monday like, where's the stuff? So this is sick. Then numbers started coming through and like, okay, it's matching each other now.
Yeah.
Then people start recognizing not just the show, the characters. That's when you realize, okay, you've gone to another step.
Yeah.
Then people start kind of taking things from like your personality. So for instance, like with Cam has this phrase called proofs in the pudding. People start using that. Fuad has a phrase called Jose, which is about his manager. People start using that. I do certain things, I do intros. People start doing that and it's like, okay, people are not only just watching what you do, but they're taking what you do and kind of
they're knowing your character,
exactly. And that's when you realize, okay, you've gone to another step, and that's something that numbers can't show you. Numbers can't show you how people are really taking what you're doing. So yeah, I mean, that's I think the key thing is you just have to start and just keep going, and it's going to be tough. We've had times where we've had recordings that have not come out because the file's corrupted. We've had audio failure. We've had cameramen that ran off with the footage.
What?
We've had we've had the whole works. We've had studios double book. We've had everything, but you just have to overcome that and just keep putting content.
Yeah, I mean, running off with my footage.
Yeah, that's the thing, like,
that's crazy.
Like, I have a lot of respect.